is a timeless reading, so it's going to be meant for you whenever you find it, as it's meant to find you. So with the reverse Justice, reverse Ten of Wands, upright Knight of Wands with the underlining of reverse Four of Cups. So I feel right away like you're coming out of a situation that was pretty devastating. I feel like it was, if anything, something similar to an unfair version of the Dark Night of the Soul, you feel like. It really caused a hold up in your life, a major wrong turn, or something went completely out of whack, and it delayed all of your hard work, or if you were set on a goal or something, it completely derailed you. It was unfair. It was, you feel like it was just not right, and it caused you to lose faith in the processes. It caused you to almost lose hope, in life being what you feel and you know that it should be. It really kind of tainted your vision, had you up, all night long, and in your head, and really just kind of down on yourself. I feel like you're pretty down on yourself. You felt very alone. It was a very, very overwhelming time for you. I feel like you went through the mud, like you all the way went through some nitty gritty, some, down in the trenches type of feeling. You took losses that were not yours to take. You fought battles that were not your battles, whether intended or not intended, that's how it went. And you weren't done right. You weren't respected. You were overlooked and disregarded, and really kind of done wrong. I feel like you were talked about. There was rumors and gossips, and your name was put through the dirt. And it really just took a lot out of you. And that's that whole feeling of, everything that you went through, you have made it through the hardest part of that. And it's like now you're stepping back into who you really are, stepping back into that divine direction, finding that inner balance with the outer world again. It was a pretty, scary time for you, I feel like, but it was everything happens for a reason, and I really have a strong feeling of like, really just, you had to learn how to pick your battles. And that scripture of the things that you can't, having the discernment to be able to, know what battles to go against, the awareness of understanding that everything is not meant to be a battle. Everything is not meant to be your battle. And there are some things in life that you can control, and there's some things that you can't control, and it's all about how you handle those situations. I feel like the situation that you were in was a grimy ass situation. Honestly, it was not very safe. You put yourself in a lot of bad situations, or you were put in bad, risky situations where people were just up to no good. Honestly, people were really up to no good, and meant you no good. Like, there was maybe even people out there who truly were intentionally, bringing you into harm's way, or causing unnecessary issues for you, causing drama, wreaking havoc in your life. And I think also it was also a time where you felt, or you thought, maybe you were tricked into believing that you were supported, that people cared about you, that they had your back, that they were going to be there for you. You were misled. You were, it's like, yeah, almost as if you were hoodwinked. You were completely caught off guard when you suddenly began to realize what was going on. It was a lot of feelings of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and allowing yourself to be around people who were no good for you, people who were preying on your downfalls, people who saw things in you, that they didn't ever want you to find out, didn't want you to know who you were, or they tried really hard to take away that light in you, the you that makes you you. They tried to dim that light, and they tried to hide from you your greatness. I think that all along you knew these things, you knew who you were, and but you also, in a way were seeing the lighter side. You believed that, that it wasn't like that, or they wouldn't do you like that, or everything would you try to keep a positive mindset through a lot of this. It seems like, even when you were done really unfairly, and it seems like that happened kind of a lot. Honestly. And that's crazy. Everything will be as it should. That's kind of the mentality that you had. You took it as like, what's meant to be is going to be. But I think that you got, I think that you got pretty down on yourself, and that's something that you didn't expect, because you know what, even the strongest of minds and the strongest people can get convinced or tricked out of who they are, or forget their worth, or forget their value and things, because they're surrounded by people or in an environment or toxicity that sucks the life out of them and causes them to start to question their own beliefs, or their own thoughts, or who they are, or what they're here for. I feel like you've always been pretty strong in the spirit, but whatever you're just coming out of really try to fucking knock you all the way down. Okay. But I also know that what is for you cannot be taken from you. They thought they were going to sabotage something with this situation. They really tried to bring you to your knees, but it was a complete fail. Smooth mood, X-Lax. It did not go in their favor, and you got to a point where you said, fuck this, I'm not going to sit around and accept this shit anymore. You had to be honest with yourself. You had to really look some people in the eyes. You really had to walk away from things that you felt like were doing you wrong. And it's time to put in work now. Like, you put in work and you was working for the wrong people. But the fact that you didn't give up, and the fact that you kept going, it says a lot about you. So I want you to definitely give yourself that credit. And I'm glad that you got out of that situation, for sure. I mean, you had to go through the dark to appreciate once you step into the light. You were unprepared. You were knocked off your feet. You were left just high and dry. I mean, like I said, the depression really kicked your ass. It really affected your mental, really tainted your view and your perspective on life. But this was all a test. It really was. And you felt most of the time like you were on it. You had no one else. There was no one who was supporting you. There was no one who had your back. You couldn't see up from down, and you were all you got, But by sticking to who you are and not allowing yourself to be broken by this test, it really shifted the power again. It really did something for you. You're in a point now where you are deserving and attracting that abundance and that material wealth and those, the worldly things that you have been trying to accomplish that were all ripped away from you. Things are about to shift in a big way for you. Just keep focusing on what you're going towards. Use your pain transform that shit into your gains. You know, everything that you've gone through was for a point and for a purpose. You don't want to waste all that just to not learn or gain anything from it. Anything in life that happens that feels like it knocks you on your ass is always to help you rise up and to stand stronger and taller, you know, and more confident and be more successful and more of who you are. So they came for you. They almost had you, but not quite. You know, you can't take what is not yours, because it will never last and you will never be able to keep it. They realized that there was nothing they can do, and everything still would shift in your favor. And no matter what they tried to sabotage or do to you, it didn't seem to ever work out. And now it's going to kick them in their ass, because shit, karma is real. Intentions are everything, and theirs were no good. You know, you're a powerful person. You came through a hell of a transformation, a really dark time in your life, and it's time now to reap those benefits of the situation. Give thanks, appreciation. Don't forget where you came from and what it took to get here. Always humbly, you know, keep yourself in check in that way, but you worked hard for it.